Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we have a truly exciting discovery for all of you, one that could turn an ordinary coin into a small fortune. We're talking about the United States of America 1967 $quarter. At first glance, it may seem like just another coin from the 1960s, but trust me, it's far from ordinary. The 1967 $quarter has an interesting history, a unique design, and most importantly, it could be worth far more than you expect. Let's begin by setting the stage with some context about the 1960s. The United States was in the midst of a time of great change, both politically and socially. The nation was caught up in the space race, civil rights movements, and the aftermath of World War II. At the same time, the U.S. Mint was in full operation, continuing to produce coins for everyday transactions. The 1967 $quarter was no different from the hundreds of millions of other quarters being produced at the time, right? Well, not exactly. This coin was part of a very specific batch made in 1967, and what makes it special comes down to a few key factors. First, let's take a look at the design. The obverse side of the coin features the familiar portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States. His image, designed by John Flanagan, has been a feature of U.S. quarters since 1932. It's a classic design that's recognized around the world, but there's more to this coin than just the design on the front. On the reverse side, you'll see the famous eagle in flight, with the words United States of America and E pluribus unum surrounding it. The eagle is holding an olive branch and arrows, a symbol of peace and readiness, respectively. This reverse design, also created by John Flanagan, has become an iconic feature of U.S. coinage, but here's where it gets interesting. The United States Mint struck these coins in large quantities during 1967. Like many coins of this era, they circulated widely and were used for everyday purchases. However, over the years, many of these coins became worn down, damaged, or simply faded from circulation, leaving very few in pristine condition. For collectors, coins like the 1967 $quarter that remain in mint or near mint condition are rare treasures. A coin that has been carefully preserved, one that hasn't been subjected to the wear and tear of everyday transactions, can carry significant value. What makes the 1967 $quarter particularly special is that some examples from this year were struck with rare errors, which has caught the eye of collectors worldwide. For example, some 1967 quarters feature unique minting errors, such as off-center strikes, double strikes, or misaligned dies. These variations, while subtle, can dramatically increase the value of the coin. Error coins are highly sought after because they represent a flaw in the minting process that makes them unique, something that doesn't happen with every coin. Even without minting errors, if a 1967 $quarter has been preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, it's considered a rarity. Most coins from this period have been subjected to years of handling, leading to scratches, dings, and discoloration. Finding a coin from 1967 that looks as if it just came off the minting press is like finding a hidden gem in a sea of ordinary coins. Now, you might be wondering, how much can a 1967 $quarter really be worth? Well, if you happen to stumble upon one of these coins in excellent condition, or better yet, an error coin, it could be worth a substantial amount of money. The market for rare coins is incredibly dynamic, and prices fluctuate based on demand and availability. But here's the real shocker: a well-preserved 1967 $quarter, especially one with a rare minting error, can be worth a staggering $66,000. That's right, $66,000 for a single quarter. Imagine finding such a coin sitting in your collection or hidden away in a drawer, waiting to be discovered. What may seem like an ordinary quarter could hold the potential to change your life with its value. So, the next time you're sorting through your coin collection or come across an old 1967 $quarter, make sure to take a closer look. You might just be holding onto a small piece of history that could make you a fortune. Top 2. This video will surely pique your interest. We're about to take a closer look at a coin that many of us have probably overlooked at one point or another, the United States 1972 quarter dollar. While it may seem like just another coin in your pocket change, this quarter has an interesting history, some unique features, and the potential to be worth far more than you'd expect. Stick around, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much this 1972 quarter could be worth today. To truly appreciate the value of the 1972 quarter dollar, we need to start by taking a trip back in time to 1972. The world was changing in exciting ways. The United States was in the midst of the 1970s, a decade known for its political, cultural, and technological shifts. The economy was adjusting, and so was the U.S. Mint, which was still producing coins to meet the growing demands of an expanding population. In 1972, the Mint produced millions of quarters as part of the regular circulation. These quarters were not unique in any particular way, at least not at first glance. On the front of the 1972 quarter, you'll see the classic image of George Washington, the first President of the United States. This familiar portrait, designed by John Flanagan, has graced the quarter since 1932 and has become an iconic representation of U.S. coinage. Washington's image symbolizes leadership, strength, and the foundation of the country. But as recognizable as the design is, there's more to the story of the 1972 quarter dollar than meets the eye. The reverse side of the 1972 quarter features an eagle in flight, holding an olive branch and arrows. This reverse design, also created by Flanagan, has been used on quarters for decades. The eagle represents power and peace, two values that are deeply embedded in the identity of the United States. While this design has been used countless times on U.S. coins, it's the specific production year of 1972 that gives this coin some of its intrigue. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1972 quarter dollar stand out in the world of coin collecting. While most of the 1972 quarters were mass-produced and circulated widely, there are certain factors that make this coin valuable. Over the years, collectors have discovered that some of the 1972 quarters have unique characteristics or minting errors that make them especially valuable. One of the most notable features of the 1972 quarter dollar is that certain coins from this year were struck with rare errors. These errors can include things like off-center strikes, double strikes, and die cracks, which make the coin unique compared to others produced in the same year. Coins that feature these minting anomalies are highly coveted by collectors because they are rare and often one of a kind. These errors can dramatically increase the value of the coin, and collectors are always on the lookout for them. Additionally, as with any coin, the condition is critical when determining value. A coin that has been well preserved, kept in mint condition, and stored carefully will often fetch a higher price than one that has been worn down through years of circulation. For many coin collectors, finding a 1972 quarter dollar in near-perfect, uncirculated condition is like finding a treasure. Coins from this period were often used in everyday transactions, which means that the vast majority of these quarters show signs of wear. So, if you happen to come across a pristine example from 1972, you found something special. The next thing to consider is how collectors and investors look at the rarity of the coin. While millions of 1972 quarters were struck, the condition, along with any unique errors, can make certain coins stand out. A standard 1972 quarter might only be worth a few dollars, but if you're fortunate enough to own one with a rare error or one in mint condition, the value can skyrocket. Now, here's the part you've been waiting for, the value. How much could a 1972 quarter dollar actually be worth? If you happen to have a 1972 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, or if you've got one with a rare minting error like a double strike, your coin could be worth a stunning $59,000. Yes, that's right, $59,000. To think that a quarter, something most of us have in our pockets, could be worth such a large sum is mind-blowing. So, the next time you find yourself sifting through old coins or browsing through a coin shop, be sure to pay close attention to any 1972 quarters. You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Top 3, we're going to talk about a coin that might be hiding in your collection, or perhaps even in your pocket change right now. the United States 1965 quarter dollar. While this coin may seem like just another piece of currency from the 1960s, it has a fascinating history and, believe it or not, a value that could leave you stunned. Stay with me until the end of this video, where I'll reveal just how much this 1965 quarter dollar could be worth today. Let's first take a look at the year 1965. This was a pivotal time in U.S. history. The country was deeply involved in the space race, and President Lyndon B. Johnson was in office. The civil rights movement was making its mark, and the country was on the cusp of several social and technological revolutions. Amidst all these changes, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins for circulation, including the quarter dollar. But the 1965 quarter dollar was unique for one particular reason: it marked the end of an era for U.S. coinage. Up until 1965, U.S. quarters were made primarily of 90% silver, with just 10% copper. However, due to rising silver prices and the need to reduce production costs, the U.S. Mint made a monumental change in 1965. For the first time in decades, the quarter dollar was no longer made with silver. Instead, it was struck with a clad composition, meaning it was made of a copper-nickel mix. This change was a big deal, and it was part of a larger shift that affected other coins as well. The 1965 quarter dollar, therefore, marks the beginning of a new chapter in U.S. coin history, making it a key piece for collectors interested in U.S. numismatics. The design of the 1965 quarter dollar remains largely unchanged from previous years. On the obverse, we have the timeless portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States. This design was created by John Flanagan and has been a signature feature on quarters since 1932. Washington's image on the quarter symbolizes the strength and resilience of the U.S. government. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see the iconic eagle in flight, carrying an olive branch and arrows. The eagle, a symbol of power, strength, and freedom, has been a hallmark of American coinage for many years. Its wings spread wide, representing the reach and potential of the nation. The reverse design was also created by John Flanagan, and it has remained largely unchanged over the decades. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1965 quarter dollar special? The answer lies in both its historical significance and its rarity in certain conditions. As I mentioned, this coin marks the end of the silver era for U.S. quarters. In addition, 1965 was a year when the U.S. Mint struck an enormous number of these coins. Millions were produced to meet the demands of the country's growing economy. However, most of these coins were circulated and used in everyday transactions, meaning that only a small number have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. This is where the value comes in. Coins that were circulated heavily are often worn down, scratched, or damaged over time. But if you happen to find a 1965 quarter dollar in excellent condition, especially if it has been carefully preserved and remains free from the usual wear and tear, it could be worth a significant amount. In fact, a coin like this, in uncirculated condition, is considered quite rare and can fetch a premium price on the market. But that's not all. Some 1965 quarters also feature rare minting errors, which can drastically increase their value. For example, there have been instances where coins were struck off-center or had double strikes, creating unique versions of the 1965 quarter. Error coins are highly sought after by collectors, and the rarer the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. If you happen to find a 1965 quarter with one of these minting errors, it could make your coin worth much more than its face value. So, let's talk about how much a 1965 quarter dollar could really be worth. If you've come across a well-preserved, uncirculated 1965 quarter, or better yet, a coin with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Are you ready for this? The value of a 1965 quarter dollar in excellent condition, or with a rare error, can reach up to an incredible $69,000. Yes, you heard that right, $69,000 for a single quarter. Imagine finding this gem hidden in an old coin collection or discovering it while going through your change. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a 1965 quarter, which was once used in daily transactions, could hold such a massive value today. So, the next time you're going through your coin collection, or even your spare change, be sure to take a second look at any 1965 quarters. You never know, you might be holding onto a coin worth thousands of dollars. Top 4. We're diving into a coin that might just surprise you with its value and significance, the United States 1983 quarter dollar. At first glance, this might seem like a standard coin from the 80s, but as with many coins in the world of numismatics, there's far more to it than meets the eye. If you've ever wondered if a coin from the 1980s could be worth anything close to a fortune, stick around, because we'll be revealing just how much a 1983 quarter dollar could fetch in today's market. The 1983 quarter dollar was produced at a time when the U.S. Mint was busy with a variety of coinage for circulation. The U.S. economy in the early 80s was recovering from the challenges of the late 70s, and the coinage was being designed to keep up with a growing population. At this point, quarters had long been struck with the same design that had been in place since 1932, George Washington on the obverse and an eagle in flight on the reverse. Nothing about the design of the 1983 quarter stands out drastically from other quarters of the same period, so what makes this coin special? To answer that, we need to dive a little deeper into the history and unique features of this particular quarter. The 1983 quarter dollar was struck with a composition of copper-nickel clad, which had been the standard for U.S. quarters since 1965. However, the value of this coin lies in its rarity and condition. Millions of these coins were produced and circulated across the country in the usual manner, used for daily transactions. So, you might be wondering, why are we even talking about the 1983 quarter when millions of them are still out there? Well, here's where things get interesting. Like most coins from the 1980s, the 1983 quarter was widely circulated, meaning that most of them you'll find today will have seen years of wear and tear. Scratches, dings, and faded designs are common in these coins because they were used extensively in everyday purchases. But here's the catch: coins that were kept in pristine, uncirculated condition are incredibly rare. Coins that have never been used in transactions, that have been stored carefully and protected from damage, are highly prized by collectors. And while a normal 1983 quarter dollar might not be worth much, an uncirculated version is an entirely different story. Another reason the 1983 quarter is so interesting to collectors is the possibility of minting errors. While the majority of 1983 quarters were struck perfectly, there have been examples where errors occurred in the minting process. Some of these error coins include off-center strikes, die cracks, and even double strikes. Minting errors are considered flaws in the production process, but to collectors, they represent rare and unique variations of a coin that could be worth a significant amount of money. These types of error coins often become highly sought after because of their rarity and the story they tell about the production process at the mint. Now, let's talk about how much a 1983 quarter dollar could actually be worth. As I mentioned, a typical 1983 quarter dollar might not be worth much more than its face value, 25 cents. However, if you happen to come across an uncirculated 1983 quarter, or even better, one with a rare minting error, the value of that coin can increase dramatically. For a pristine, uncirculated 1983 quarter dollar, you could be looking at a value of several $100s, but here's the real kicker. If you happen to have a 1983 quarter with a minting error or something that sets it apart from the others, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $49,000, yes, that's right, $49,000. Imagine finding a coin from 1983 that was carefully preserved or, even better, a rare error coin. It could be worth an astonishing amount of money. So, the next time you're going through your coin collection, your pocket change, or even an old jar of coins, don't overlook that 1983 quarter. You could be holding on to a valuable piece of history that's worth far more than you'd think. Top 5. We're diving into a coin that might not be the first one you'd think of when imagining valuable pieces of U.S. currency, but trust me, the 1987 United States quarter dollar is far more intriguing than you might believe. Most of us have probably come across a 1987 quarter without a second thought, but did you know this particular coin could be worth a staggering amount of money? Stick around because I'm going to reveal just how much this coin could be worth today, and you won't want to miss it. Let's set the scene for a moment. The year is 1987. The US was in the midst of economic growth, with the stock market soaring and a new technological era on the horizon. Coin collectors were also busy tracking down the latest issues from the US Mint, and the 1987 quarter dollar was no exception. The design of the coin was still consistent with earlier quarters, George Washington on the obverse and the American eagle on the reverse, both iconic symbols of American history and strength. However, the story of the 1987 quarter is a bit more complex when we look at its circulation and the specific factors that make it valuable. By 1987, quarters were struck in the standard copper-nickel clad composition, a move that had been in place since 1965. This was a change from earlier quarters, which were made of 90% silver, but that didn't mean the 1987 coin was any less significant. In fact, as we're about to discover, this coin has gained remarkable attention in the numismatic world over the years. So, what sets the 1987 quarter dollar apart from others of its kind? One of the most important factors when determining the value of a coin is its rarity, and despite the fact that millions of these quarters were minted, very few remain in perfect, uncirculated condition today. Coins that were heavily circulated over the years often suffer from wear and tear. They get scratched, dinged, and the details start to fade over time. But coins that have been carefully stored, well preserved, and untouched by the rigors of daily life are incredibly rare, and therefore, valuable. The 1987 quarter is particularly interesting because many of them were used in regular transactions and have suffered the usual damage of everyday circulation. However, those that have been kept in pristine condition are incredibly sought after by collectors. A well-preserved 1987 quarter, especially one that has never been used in commerce, can fetch a pretty penny in the marketplace, with collectors willing to pay a premium for such a piece. In addition to mint condition, there are other factors that can contribute to the value of the 1987 quarter. Some collectors are on the lookout for coins with minting errors. These errors could range from double strikes to off-center impressions, and they are highly prized by numismatists because they're one-of-a-kind pieces that stand out in a collection. If you happen to come across a 1987 quarter with one of these errors, it could dramatically increase the value of your coin. Now, let's talk numbers. You're probably wondering, just how much can a 1987 quarter be worth? Well, if you happen to have a coin that's in uncirculated, perfect condition, or one that has a rare minting error, the value could be much higher than you'd expect. While most 1987 quarters are worth just face value, 25 cents, an uncirculated 1987 quarter can sell for several $100s. But here's the real jaw-dropper: if you have one of these rare, pristine coins, or a coin with a minting error, you could be looking at a value of up to $44,000, that's right, $44,000 for a single 1987 quarter. It's amazing to think that a coin that was once just part of everyday currency could have such a hefty price tag. So, the next time you're sorting through your change, be sure to take a second look at that 1987 quarter. It might not just be a simple coin, it could be a treasure that's worth a small fortune. Top 6, we're going to uncover a hidden gem in the world of US coinage, the 1974 United States quarter dollar. While you may have seen this coin countless times, you might not realize that it's actually more valuable than you might think. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just getting started, the 1974 quarter dollar could be the key to unlocking a treasure trove of value sitting right under your nose. The 1974 quarter was minted during an exciting period in U.S. history. The country was navigating the tail end of the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal, and the economy was shifting. While the 1974 quarter may seem like just another piece of everyday currency, it holds an interesting place in the timeline of U.S. coinage. By this time, quarters were already being struck using a copper-nickel clad composition, a decision that was made in 1965 to replace the older silver composition. As a result, the 1974 quarter didn't contain any precious metals, but it still played an important role in the national economy. What makes the 1974 quarter dollar interesting from a collector's standpoint is that, despite being widely circulated, certain versions of the coin have become rare, especially those in pristine or uncirculated condition. Most of the 1974 quarters you'll come across are likely to show some signs of wear and tear, as they've been in circulation for decades. However, this is where the true value of this coin comes into play. Like any coin, its condition plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins that have been used in daily transactions, as most of these quarters were, often experience scratches, fading, and general wear that diminish their value. But, and here's the important part, coins that have been well preserved, kept in excellent condition, and protected from everyday use are extremely valuable to collectors. Finding a 1974 quarter in uncirculated or near-perfect condition is like finding a needle in a haystack, and that's exactly why these coins are so sought after in the world of numismatics. There's also something else that makes the 1974 quarter so special: the possibility of minting errors. Minting errors are one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting because they make a coin unique. They occur when something goes wrong during the production process at the U.S. Mint. A quarter could be struck off-center, or it could feature a double die, where the design is imprinted multiple times on the coin. These types of errors can create one-of-a-kind coins that are highly coveted by collectors. Some specific 1974 quarters were found with notable minting errors, and these rare variations are worth much more than their standard counterparts. Minting errors often turn an ordinary coin into a piece of history that stands out from the rest of the pack. If you happen to find a 1974 quarter with a minting error, it could add significant value to your coin. Now, let's get to the part that you've all been waiting for: just how much could a 1974 quarter be worth? Well, it all depends on the condition of the coin, as well as whether it has any rare minting errors. A typical 1974 quarter in average condition is worth just its face value, 25 cents. But if you've got one in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could easily fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And if you happen to have a rare error coin, you're looking at something far more valuable. Drumroll, please. A 1974 quarter in excellent condition, or one with a rare minting error, could be worth as much as $54,000. That's right, $54,000. It's hard to believe that a simple quarter from 1974 could be worth such an impressive amount. But that's the beauty of coin collecting. What might seem like a run-of-the-mill coin can turn out to be a treasure if it's rare, well-preserved, or contains a unique error. So, the next time you're going through your change or digging through your coin collection, take a moment to check for a 1974 quarter. You could be holding a rare find that's worth far more than you'd ever expect. Top 7. We're going to focus on a coin that might be hiding in your collection or even in your spare change, a coin that could be worth a small fortune. Yes, we're talking about the 1986 United States quarter dollar. While most people think of this coin as just another piece of everyday currency, it holds a secret. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll find out just how much this seemingly ordinary quarter can be worth. Let's set the stage by taking a closer look at the history of this coin. The 1986 U.S. quarter was minted during a time when the country was experiencing economic stability under President Ronald Reagan's leadership. This coin is part of the regular series of quarters released during the mid-80s, but it's the unique characteristics of certain 1986 quarters that make them valuable today. In 1986, the U.S. Mint produced millions of these quarters, and most of them ended up in the hands of everyday Americans. Over time, these coins circulated, wearing down from use in vending machines, pocket change, and other daily transactions. However, certain 1986 quarters have become highly prized in the collector's market, especially those in pristine, uncirculated condition. It's the rarity of these well-preserved quarters that drives their value up. So, what makes these quarters so special? Let's talk about their design. The obverse side, designed by John Flanagan, features a classic portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States. This image, which has been featured on U.S. quarters since 1932, continues to symbolize the nation's enduring legacy of freedom and democracy. The reverse side of the quarter features an eagle, with its wings spread in flight, clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbols of strength and peace. These images are familiar to most, but it's the condition and unique features of certain 1986 quarters that make them stand out. Now, let's get into the exciting part, the value of the 1986 quarter. Most of these coins are still circulating in change, and if you happen to find one, it will probably only be worth its face value of 25 cents. However, collectors are particularly interested in uncirculated versions of the 1986 quarter. These coins were never used in circulation and remain in perfect condition. When coins are struck at the U.S. Mint, they're not always perfect. Sometimes, subtle flaws occur during the minting process, like small design variances or minor misprints. While most of these coins go unnoticed, some have become incredibly valuable due to those very imperfections. One of the most significant reasons why collectors covet the 1986 quarter is because of a few rare and valuable variations. One such variant has a very subtle but noticeable error where the date is slightly misaligned, or the design features small, unique details that make it stand out from the rest. These errors, though minute, have become highly sought after by numismatists around the world, driving up their value. The most desirable 1986 quarters are those that have been preserved in perfect condition. To achieve the highest grade, these coins must be free of any scratches, dings, or discoloration. Coins that have been stored properly, perhaps in a sealed case or a protective holder, have a much higher chance of being worth more to collectors. And if you're lucky enough to come across an error coin in excellent condition, the value can increase exponentially. So, just how much can a 1986 quarter be worth? If you find an uncirculated 1986 quarter with a unique minting error or an extremely high grade, you could be looking at a coin worth up to $45,000. That's right, $45,000 for a single 1986 quarter. Imagine stumbling upon one of these in your coin jar or while going through a stack of old change. You could be holding a small fortune in your hand, all because you took the time to examine your coins carefully. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a quarter could hold so much value. Before you rush off to check your coin collection, remember that the condition of the coin is everything. A 1986 quarter in average or worn condition won't fetch this kind of price, but a pristine, error-free example or a unique variant could be worth a serious amount of money. We're going to explore an often overlooked gem in the world of U.S. coinage, the 1979 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, this coin might not seem like anything out of the ordinary, but stick with me, and I'll show you why this particular quarter is worth much more than you might expect. Whether you're an experienced numismatist or someone who's just beginning to explore the fascinating world of coin collecting, you won't want to miss this deep dive into the value and potential of the 1979 quarter. The 1979 quarter was minted at a time when the country was experiencing an era of change. The 1970s were filled with political and economic turbulence, and the U.S. Mint was busy producing vast quantities of coins to keep up with the demand. But what makes the 1979 quarter stand out among the many millions of quarters struck during this time is its rarity and its potential for hidden value. As you probably know, the design of the quarter hasn't changed much over the years. The familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse side and the American eagle on the reverse have become iconic symbols of the U.S. Mint. However, as with many other coins, what truly determines the value of a 1979 quarter isn't just the design, but the condition it's in and whether there are any unique features that set it apart from the rest. Here's where things get exciting. Most of the 1979 quarters you'll come across have been in circulation for decades. These coins have been through the ringer, dropped, scratched, and worn down over time. These factors make them relatively common and typically worth only their face value of 25 cents. But here's the secret: coins that are well preserved, that haven't been circulated, and that are in pristine or uncirculated condition can fetch much higher prices on the market. And if you're lucky enough to find a 1979 quarter in mint condition, it could be worth a whole lot more than you ever imagined. Coins that have been kept in excellent condition over the years, carefully stored away and shielded from circulation, are highly prized by collectors. When a 1979 quarter is in uncirculated condition, meaning it looks as if it just left the U.S. Mint, it's a rare find, and that rarity translates directly into value. A coin in pristine condition might seem like a small detail, but it can make all the difference in the world when it comes to its worth. But wait, there's even more to consider. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the world of minting errors. These happen when something goes wrong during the production process, resulting in a unique and often valuable coin. Minting errors can come in many forms: misaligned strikes, double dies, off-center coins, and other fascinating flaws. These errors create one-of-a-kind pieces that are highly sought after by collectors, and they can dramatically increase the value of a coin. So, what does that mean for the 1979 quarter? If your 1979 quarter happens to have a minting error, such as an off-center strike or a double die, you could be holding onto a rare and valuable piece of history. Minting errors are exciting because they make a coin stand out from the rest, and error coins often fetch much higher prices than their standard counterparts. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for: just how much can a 1979 quarter be worth? If your coin is in uncirculated condition or has a minting error, you could be looking at a coin that's worth far more than the face value of 25 cents. While most 1979 quarters are still worth just a few dollars in average condition, the truly rare and exceptional ones can go for much higher prices. Here's the big reveal: a 1979 quarter in excellent condition or with a minting error could be worth as much as $55,000. Yes, you heard that right, $55,000. It's amazing to think that a simple coin from 1979, which was originally worth just a quarter, could end up being worth such a significant amount. The rarity of uncirculated examples and the possibility of minting errors makes the 1979 quarter a hidden treasure that many collectors are eager to find. So, the next time you're going through your collection or sorting through some spare change, don't overlook the 1979 quarter. It could be the key to unlocking a valuable coin that's worth far more than you'd ever expect. We're diving into a coin that's likely sitting in your pocket change right now: the 1984 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it may seem like just another typical quarter, but you're about to discover that this coin could be hiding some serious value. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your journey into coin collecting, this video is for you. We'll break down exactly what makes the 1984 quarter so special, and how it could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents. The 1984 quarter dollar was minted during a significant time in U.S. history. While the nation was enjoying a period of economic recovery in the 1980s, the U.S. Mint continued to produce billions of coins each year to meet the growing demands of everyday transactions. The design of the quarter remained largely unchanged from its introduction in 1932, with George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. But while the design stayed the same, there are several factors that can make the 1984 quarter more valuable than it may initially seem. One of the key things to remember is that, like many coins, the value of a 1984 quarter is primarily determined by its condition. If a coin has been in circulation for decades, it's likely to have experienced wear and tear, scratches, and fading of details. Most 1984 quarters you come across will be in just this kind of condition. But if you're lucky enough to come across one that's in uncirculated, pristine condition, then you're holding a coin that could be worth significantly more than the typical 25-cent face value. Uncirculated coins, by definition, have never been used in everyday transactions. They're fresh from the mint and have been carefully stored away. These coins have not been subjected to the usual rigors of circulation, and because of this, they maintain their sharp details and bright luster. Finding an uncirculated 1984 quarter is a rare treat for collectors, and it's one of the main reasons why this coin can be worth so much more than you'd expect. But the story doesn't stop there. There's another factor that can dramatically increase the value of a 1984 quarter, and that's the potential for minting errors. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process. This could be anything from a misaligned die, a double die, or even an off-center strike. These kinds of errors happen randomly and are what makes certain coins highly sought after by collectors. A coin with a minting error is a one-of-a-kind treasure, and it can greatly increase the value of a coin like the 1984 quarter. imagine coming across a 1984 quarter with a noticeable minting error, like a double die or an off-center strike. These types of errors can make the coin far more valuable to collectors who specialize in error coins. Error coins are exciting because they break away from the standard, and because of their rarity, they are often worth much more than a typical coin in similar condition. Minting errors add an element of mystery and intrigue, which is why they are so coveted in the world of coin collecting. Now, let's talk about the big question you're all waiting for: how much could a 1984 quarter be worth? If you have an uncirculated 1984 quarter in your possession, you're already holding a coin that's worth significantly more than just 25 cents. But if that coin also happens to have a minting error, such as a double die or off-center strike, the value could go through the roof. While most 1984 quarters are only worth a few dollars in excellent condition, those with rare minting errors are a completely different story. And now, the moment you've been waiting for: if you happen to have an uncirculated 1984 quarter or one with a minting error, you could be holding onto a coin worth as much as $44,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $44,000. It's incredible to think that a coin, which was originally worth just a quarter, could have increased in value so dramatically over time. This is the magic of coin collecting. What may seem like a small and insignificant piece of currency can hold untold value for those who know what to look for. So, if you have a stash of quarters or come across a 1984 quarter in your spare change, be sure to take a close look at it. You could have a rare, uncirculated coin or a minting error that's worth far more than its face value. Don't miss the opportunity to uncover hidden treasures that could be worth thousands of dollars. If you found this video helpful and want to learn more about the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future discoveries. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.